What if retirement isn't something we wait for, but something we can choose to live today? Life doesn't wait for someday, and neither should you. Stop postponing your dreams and start creating a life of purpose right now. Many of us spend decades working towards a future that seems like the ultimate reward, retirement. But what if retirement isn't the end goal we've been told to wait for? What if you could live your life now in a way that feels just as fulfilling, if not more, without waiting for someday? I want to explore today what it means to retire today. And I think this is something everybody should take some time to think about. What if you could retire today? And not in the financial sense, but in terms of living a purposeful life, experience rich life. And I'm going to share some perspectives that have guided my journey and have allowed me to really see that I have been living a semi-retired life. And I want to hopefully share this from the perspective that it will allow you to live with intention and meaning. Also, the perspective of a recent loss that kind of truly reframed how I think about retirement and time. Many of us spend decades planning for retirement. And I had a recent conversation with a friend, and we were speaking about retirement. And the outcome of this has really reframed my thought on retirement and also pushed me to look back through my working career and how I feel I've lived a semi-retired life pretty much the whole time. And I want to share with you how you could retire today, and not just from a financial sense, but from a perspective of living a meaningful life, living an experience-rich life. And the concept I'm trying to uncover today is the idea of there's two ways to retire: experience rich, financially stable, or for a lot of us, we follow the what is told to us and we live a fairly experience poor life until retirement, where we are financially rich, hoping that our time then is to experience the things that we want to accomplish and the things that give us purpose and value in our life. So that's today's episode, and I'm going to dig into this a little bit more as I go through some of my ideas that I came up with from reflecting on my own life and the path that I've chosen, and then also bring in some stories on why I think it's so important that we evaluate what our idea of retirement is sooner than later. So for as long as I can remember, I've lived what some call a semi-retired life. I really want to stress that this doesn't mean I was lounging around on beaches, although there was some time that I did get to do that, or taking extended vacations. What it means is that I have made intentional choices throughout my life to pursue paths that have fulfilled me and paths that were meaningful, even if they didn't always make sense to others. And I think that is the big change or difference that I've done compared to what was expected of me and or what people think is expected of you. And it didn't always make sense to others. And sometimes in the moments, it didn't always make sense to me. But I knew there was this calling of or purpose in the direction that I was following. And it's given me some great experiences. And that's what I mean by the term experience rich. I've had the privilege to live on both coasts of Canada. I've coached football from the high school level all the way up to the pro ranks. I've run a successful digital marketing company from home for over 25 years. And I'm working as a firefighter in the city of Calgary now. And each of these roles wasn't part of a conventional career path. In fact, at every point, I was told to stay the course, keep doing what's expected. But I didn't. I listened to my gut. I followed my passions and created a life full of experiences and purpose. It wasn't because I had some grand plan or financial safety net. It was because I knew that waiting for retirement to start living wasn't for me. I've carried that belief for as long as I can remember. I started working very young in my life, and I always felt that I will do what I'm enjoying. And when I'm not enjoying it anymore, I will change. I will find a different path to make sure that I am living with purpose and living with passion. However, many people live with the idea that they need to wait to live their purpose. They need to wait till they're 65 or financially secure or have earned the right to live fully. But here's the truth. Waiting can be dangerous. Life is happening now, and there's no guarantee what tomorrow will bring. This hit home for me recently for a number of reasons, but the big one is I got to know a colleague that I worked with at the fire department and was really starting to connect with him. He's on another shift or was on another shift, and I really enjoyed spending some time with him, and I had an opportunity to chat with him a little bit, and we were talking about retirement and what his plans were. And he shared some things with me, what his life looked like when he retired, and he said he only had 2 years left. And then he'd be stepping away from the job and finally living a life that he has dreamed of. We had talked about these things he wanted to do when he retired. But 2 days later, after that conversation, he passed away in his sleep. And I remember feeling completely stunned, heartbroken, and angry all at once. It was the fact that I just had this intimate conversation with him a few days prior. And I was thinking to myself, what are we waiting for? Why are we all waiting for this? And just like that, he was gone. It made me realize even more how fragile life can be and how important it is to make the most of the time that we have now. This experience cemented something for me, and it's something I've always believed. Retirement isn't some far off milestone we should be waiting for. It's not about reaching a certain age or hitting a financial target. Instead, retirement can happen anytime in your life. And it's about living in alignment with your values and your purpose. So what does that mean? How do we look at that? To me, it means making choices today that bring fulfillment. Whether you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, or beyond, it means asking yourself, am I living the life I want to live right now? Or am I postponing it for later? For me, that meant coaching football when I was passionate about it, starting a digital marketing company when I wanted more flexibility to raise my children, and becoming a firefighter because I wanted to serve my community. None of those decisions fit in the traditional mold, but each one was driven by a desire for purpose. Now, as I coach, I'm driven by the same purpose, helping others find fulfillment and balance in their lives without waiting for the right time. Now, I'm not saying to throw caution to the wind and ignore the need for financial stability. Believe me, I've made that mistake a couple of times, and it caused a fair amount of strain, but I did learn some resilience through that and climb my way back out of those things. But what I'm saying is that you don't have to choose between living an experience-rich life or be financially secure. It is possible to do both, but it requires a shift in mindset. Financial planning should be about creating a life that allows you to enjoy experiences now, not just saving everything for later. Think about it. What good is all the money if you never get time or health to enjoy it? And the key is to find balance. Maybe that means taking a few more risks, changing careers, even stepping away from something that isn't serving you anymore. The goal is to align your work and your life with what truly matters to you. So you're not just waiting for retirement that may or may not come. So losing a friend was a reminder that life is short and tomorrow is never guaranteed. And I know he had so many dreams and plans for his retirement. He was so close, but time wasn't on his side. And while it is heartbreaking, it also makes me even more determined to live my life fully and to encourage you to do the same. We don't know how much time we have, but we do have a choice on how we spend it. So how can you start retiring today? I want to talk about the tactical steps that have guided me a little bit in my life, and hopefully I can share some of these tactical steps because they also came with some experience on the things I didn't do. And through that journey, I've been able to identify the breakdown in some of my plans and come up with some tactical tips that I think if you follow these will allow you to retire today. And that means a bit of a mindset decision, but it doesn't mean leaving your job. It doesn't mean cashing in your RSP or your 401ks in the US. I'm talking about making conscious decisions that bring you closer to a life of purpose and fulfillment. Here's the steps. Step number 1, identify your core values and passions. What makes you come alive? What activities or work bring you joy and fulfillment? Make a list and start exploring how you can incorporate more of those in your day-to-day life. And it's super important that we can honor that in ourselves, because if we're doing work or play that doesn't align with that, it's going to create internal conflict down the road. Step number 2, take calculated risks. This is something I feel I was always pretty good at. And it's really, don't be afraid to change paths. If you're stuck in a job or a career that doesn't align with your values, start planning your exit. It doesn't have to happen overnight, but taking small steps towards something more meaningful can make a big difference. And sometimes even that tweak, you might be able to find opportunities in your current work that actually align with your values and passions. Step number 3, balance your financial goals with meaningful experiences. Yes, saving for the future is important, but don't sacrifice living fully in the present for saving in the future. Budget for experiences now, whether that's travel, hobbies, or time with loved ones. Invest in things that make life rich. And that's what I mean by the term retiring experience rich and financially stable, because that's how we could live a semi-retired life now. Step number 4, stop waiting for someday. There will never be the perfect time to start living the life you want. Don't wait until you retire to pursue your dreams and passions. Start now, even if it's in small ways. And this is so important and really something that I feel I've become very good at, is that if something is not working, I will evaluate that and I will try to make a change to make sure that what I am doing is aligning with my values and my purpose. If there's one thing I want you to take away from today's episode, it's this. Life is happening now. Don't wait until retirement to start living. Don't wait for some future milestone to pursue your passions or create meaningful experiences. You have the power to live a fulfilling life today, right now, by making intentional choices that align with your purpose. What are you waiting for?
Thanks for joining me on the Daily Truths and the Weekly Wins. I hope today's episode leaves you inspired to embrace life's challenges and make the most of every day. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with someone who could use a little boost. Join me again for more insights and encouragement. Until then, remember, progress, not perfection. Keep striving, keep growing.